Hey everybody, my name is Ben Sturtevant. I am the Chief Operating and Chief Marketing Officer with Elite CEOs, and I'm going to be talking to you today about something that's really important. I shared this with our team the other day on our manager call, on our company call, and I wanted to carry it over here because I think it's super important. So this is not our typical or not the typical sort of marketing operational type of training that I do, but I think it's probably one of the most important things that we can talk about inside of building your business online. A while back, I had done a training called the Emotional Roller Coaster, and I talked about the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys that we go through during the process of building our business. And today I wanted to talk to you about really what it is that allowed me as a business owner and what allows most people as a business owner to make it through this process, to survive this emotional, entrepreneur journey, to make it through and actually have some success. And this actually comes from a great book that I recommend to anybody. It's called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And I think it's a great foundational book for anyone who's trying to build a business. So many business owners really, they start out to build their business, obviously because they want to make more money. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that was a big motivator for me initially as well. I was limited by my career and I wanted to make more money. What I didn't realize at the time, though, was that there was a deeper reason for it. And it was that deeper reason that kept me building. And it's the secret, I feel, to making it online or building any kind of business. And that secret is you've got to find something that's going to motivate you to take action and do the things that it's going to take to build your business, even when you'd rather not, even when you don't want to. What is that thing that's going to push you, motivate you, drive you in order to build your business and do the things that you'd rather not do, to send those messages, to take those sales calls? I remember being up, it'd be 10 o'clock at night and I'd be responding to people and putting out fires and, dealing with unhappy customers or clients. It can weigh on you. And as I showed you in that in a previous training that I did, this emotional roller coaster, when you hit these valleys down here, how do you come out of it? It can't always be based on, oh, I made a sale, and that's what pulls me out of the valley. You've got to have something else. And that something else is what I wanted to talk to you about today. So I'm going to give you an example, and because this is important to me and this is dear to my heart, this is a little bit insight into my story and kind of where I came from. So a lot of you may not know, I actually have a degree in physical therapy. That's what I went to school for. That was my passion. I had always wanted to work in an outpatient sports rehab clinic. While I was in college, I was interning in one. And then as soon as I got done with school, I transitioned right into an outpatient sports clinic. And this was in 2001, 2002-ish. At first I was happy. I felt like I was, setting, accomplishing my goals and my dreams. My wife and I had got married a couple years ago, or a couple years before that. She was a microbiologist. We bought our first home in 2000. We were both 21, 22 years old. So we were way ahead of most people. We thought we were doing everything that we needed to do. And, my wife and I started talking, and we wanted to start a family, and she really wanted to be able to be home with our kids. And for most people around the world, around the country, that might not be that big of a deal. But we live in California, very expensive part of California, where it usually takes two-income households to be able to have a comfortable life, not necessarily a luxurious life, but just something that you're comfortable with. And where you didn't have to, live paycheck to paycheck. So it was really important to her because we both grew up very poor. Her mom was a server in a restaurant from the time, for her entire life. And so if you know anybody in the restaurant business, from 3 p.m. until midnight, her mom was not around. So it was really important for her that she be able to be, to my wife, it was really important to her that she was going to be able to be home with our kids. Long story short, she was 50% of our income. So I had to figure out a way to match her other part of our income. And unfortunately, while I loved the career that I was in, I was looking at, the situation I was in, I wasn't going to be able to do that. It wasn't where I could just go to my boss and, hey, like, bro, I could use, 100% more revenue coming in, or, can you double my salary? That wasn't going to happen. So I had to find another way. And that's when I started, reading, learning. I think I read Rich Dad Poor Dad back then. You know, and I just started down this journey of starting to educate myself about entrepreneurship. And I got introduced to the world of digital marketing, and I fell in love with it. And I found a passion. I found a way that I could still help and work with people. But it was just in a different capacity, right? So while I wasn't going to do physical therapy anymore, I found a new passion. And I ran my very first ad in 2003. It was a Google pay-per-click ad. It was, I was building funnels before funnels were even funnels. I built it with Microsoft front page. That's how old I am. But, it was a Google pay-per-click ad, and I'll never forget it, what it felt like when that very first lead came in and opted in, and it was in my email inbox, and it said, "You have a new lead." And I was like, "Oh my God, that was so cool. Somebody raised their hand and wanted to talk with me." And that just lit a fire under me, but it wasn't easy. So, because I was still working in physical therapy full time, and I was trying to transition out. And there were many times when I would come home and I'd have to start working on my business, get back to leads. I was making calls to leads on my lunch hour. I was doing sales calls like late at night on the weekends. I was working, a good 50-hour week in my physical therapy job with my commute, and then another 40, 50 hours a week in my business. So it was exhausting. And there were a lot of times when I would want to come out of my office and just watch a ball game. There were a lot of, I played in a men's baseball league, and I had to stop doing that. We would go to a lot of sports events around the local area. I had to stop doing that. I had to sacrifice a lot of things. And there were a lot of times when I wanted to give up. But the reason that I didn't was because all it took was for me to walk outside of my office, and there's my wife, her baby bump starting to grow. And I'm like, oh man, that was my why. That was what pushed me to do it and pushed me to build. And that's not entirely what the Start With Why book from Simon Sinek is about. It's really more sort of operational and, kind of understanding the purpose of your business and communicating that to your leads and your audience. But I think in order to survive this emotional roller coaster that you're going to go on, you need to have a really good connection with that deeper level of what's pushing you to do it. Again, even when you'd rather not, because that's the secret. That's what's going to push you. It's going to take you out of those darker places. It's going to force you to take action even when you don't want to. And like I said, that's the key. So hopefully that information is useful to you guys. Please feel free to share this with anyone that you like. You're welcome to comment down below. Let me know what your why is if you want to be vulnerable and share what pushes you, or maybe you just need some help with kind of pulling that out and identifying that, because it's not easy for most people. Sometimes you have to dig a little bit to really discover what it is. And if you want some help with that, I'm happy to. So let me know in the comments. Thank you so much, guys, for plugging on. I will see you in the next training. See you guys.